All right, so we're on that last day. We were walking out of the truck stop, walking past the 65, walking down, going to go to the next town. And this young nurse, Randy, had picked us up. And she had taken us to Monticello, correct? Is that where it was, I believe?
I think so.
Monticello. And it was funny. I never thought at the time to ask her about looking at Scott's foot. But I think she kind of got, she was one of many of the rides that got the impression that maybe I was kidnapping my son. When he was getting out of the car, she's like, "Do you guys need anything?" And I'm like, "No." And she asked him, "Do you need anything?" He's like, "No." "Are you sure? I mean, do you need anything? Do you need anything?" I mean, she must have asked you, what, 3 or 4 times, right? It was so funny. So when we were at the truck stop the night before, it was raining, and this gentleman came by. And he was like, "Hey," he goes, "I just bought this lottery ticket. The machine's down. I'm leaving Indiana. You guys going to be through Indiana tomorrow where you can cash it in. It's $5. So I was like, "Sweet." So I decided, hey, I told Scott, "I'm going to cash this ticket in. Take your sock off." I said, "I want to look at your foot," because he was complaining that his foot was itching and bothering him. And then when I came out, his foot was like blistered. I mean, the bug bites went from being little dots in 24 hours to being huge little blisters. So I asked, "Hey, is there a nearest hospital?" And this guy's like, "Jump in the back of my truck." And it was downpouring, okay? It started raining again. And we rode to the hospital about a quarter mile up the road. Fastest emergency room I've ever seen, let me just tell you. We were in and out of there in like, what, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Yeah. There wasn't a spider bite that bit him. They thought maybe it might have been a chick or something. They didn't know. So they, popped one of the blisters, put antibiotic on it, taped his foot up, gave me some stuff, said, "Hey, change this again, or do it again twice a day." And so we left there. It was raining a bit, so we stood, just walked around the hospital for a little bit, and then stopped raining. So we walked up to a McDonald's, ate. There was another, sheriff in there. I'm like, "Hey, gonna run my ID? Can you do it now so you don't have to stop us in the rain?" He's like, "Hey, if you're willing to come up to me, then I'm not gonna run it." So we made it through Monticello. Did a few things on our list. The radio station, the greenhouse, and we hitched from there. I think we got a ride. Is that where we met? Maybe Wyatt the first time?
I think so.
From Wyatt, who was going mudding and stuff. And he took us through to like to close town. Maybe, did it begin with, it was almost like a country. Peru, I believe it was, right? Was it? Did he take us to Peru or somewhere near Peru? And he and I went and ate at McDonald's, uploaded some videos, and I'm like, "Look, I want to get home, man. Let's keep going." So we went and hitched some more. Well, Wyatt had went and picked up his friend and stuff, and he saw us, and he gave us another ride to the next city. He told his friend about us and everything, and gave us a ride. And then we were getting close to Wabash, right? I think we maybe made it to Wabash. And we walked through the little town of Wabash, and then the road splits to the left or the right. And I'd ask people, I'd say, "We're trying to get to," actually we were at the end of Peru, because that's what the sign said, "Thank you for visiting Peru. We're trying to get to Wabash. Did we go that way or that way?" And they were like, "Yes." And I went and asked this other lady, I'm like, "Hey, is that 24 or is that 24? And she's like, "Yes." Well, they both were. One was old 24, one was new 24. So we went on old 24 for a while. This guy, Chris, picked us up, took us through to Wabash. We were hitchhiking on the road, like 4-lane road. And then a gunnery sergeant retired from the Marines picked us up, took us through Huntington. So all that walking we had to do through Huntington, where we got picked up at the first sheriff and stuff, this guy drove us right past all of it, which was amazing.
Dropped us off at a Walmart, right?
No, he dropped us off at the Arby's. Remember we went to the Arby's.
Yeah.
So we went into Arby's, grabbed a sandwich real quick. They didn't have Wi-Fi, so I told Scott, "Go, we're going. Walked through Huntington, got picked up a few times on the other side of Huntington. Ended up getting picked up, that's what more people were giving money left and right outside Huntington to this kid right here, man. "Can't give you a ride, but here's $20. Can't give you a ride, but get something to eat for $10. Made it to this little town, Merkel, where this young lady, Colleen, picked us up. And Colleen, this is again, one of those things where you learn, and we're on day 16, gotta have to be dropped off somewhere good. Picked us, we were always going for stop signs, stoplights. Now that we're in the country, you want a stop sign. Colleen told us where she was going, and I talked to her. Well, she ended up just dropping us off in the middle of nowhere on this road. And we were like 10, 11 miles from Decatur, Indiana. And I remember we walked. And we stopped at a porch, and I fixed his foot, told the people about our story. And in fact, they actually got online and was watching it. And earlier today, I noticed, I don't know if you saw, or did I tell you, she wrote a comment that said, "It's 10:15 on Sunday. Michael and Scott just left here. They're about so many miles from Decatur. Good luck, boys." So we walked and saw this guy who was the car was sitting there for a while and running, headlights on. I'm like, "Hey, any way you can take us to Decatur?" And he's like, "Nope, it's 4.5 miles up that way." I'm like, "Please, please, can you take us to Decatur? I mean, I'll give you money. My son's foot's messed up." I'm like, "Please, just get us to Decatur." Because our plan, if we could just get to Decatur, we'd be at another stop sign, could either hitch or find a place to sleep. And he's like, "No, get walking. It's only 4.5 miles up." And I'm like, making every kind of thing. And I would say about a half mile up, would you say? Jeremy's when they picked us. Jeremy came.
Yeah.
About a half mile up, we're in this like little area, and this guy comes by, and he's got his nephew in the car, who's Scott's age. And this guy said, "Hey man, are you the one that just told my twin brother that you walk and need a ride to Decatur?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's in a NASCAR car. I mean, it's painted like a NASCAR racing car and everything. And he's like, "Get in, I'll give you a ride." And so we got in, and he took us he liked our story, man. We were telling him all about it and everything. And the young guy in the back exchanged numbers with Scott, texting and stuff. And he not only took us to Decatur, he's like, took us to Van Wert, got us into Ohio. Drove us around Van Wert a little bit, took us to a gas station, said so Scott and I could fill our water bottles and get some pop. We were getting a couple pop Mountain Dews each and some candy, and him and his nephew insisted on paying for it. They're like, "No man, we want to do this for you, save your money for when you have to pay for a ride, etc." So he dropped us off at this little like two-way stop area. Honestly, I just know it was on the 24, is that where we were at this point? No, 224. 224 and close to the 224-30 where they all get merged together and stuff. And I was talking to my cousin and all that, and she's telling me, get to the 30, wherever the 30 is and all that, and her husband and son will come and get us and take us the other 2 hours home. So Scott and I are walking and just like, "Yes, man, we are going to make it home, one last ride, blah, blah, blah." And we were walking along 224, and these two cops pick us up. And these two cops are like, or actually there was only one cop at the time, pulled us over. I was like, "Hey, you can't be hitchhiking on the 224, etc." And I was very nice, had my ID out. I said, "I apologize." Told him what we did, been YouTubing and all that. "Sure you did." And I'm like, "Seriously, man, you want to look it up?" We did. This guy was so rude. K9 cop comes up, I'm like, "We have nothing on us. We haven't been drinking, nothing, no drugs." And so we don't have any weapons. I'm like, "If you just please let me pull my iPad out, I can show you." And he's like, "Well, you may have had a journey this far." He goes, "But your journey ends tonight." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You're no longer going to hitchhike on 224. You have to find a way home, etc." So I'm like, "Look, my cousin's coming to get me. I was just going down the 30. Was going to go to a decent place where I could see him." Well, he ended up driving us back to Van Wert. And it was funny. Scott and I had been up for like 3 days, hardly no sleep. And Scott was trying to be so polite to the cop at times. Like, the guy was like, he has my IDs. He's like, "Where'd you from?" And I'm like, "Ripon, Ohio. What are you doing?" I said, "Well, we left Ripon, Ohio on June 15th, 2000, at 5:01 in the morning, walked, and we made it here. This is day 16. We're trying to make it home before day 16 ends, yada, yada, yada." And, he asked Scott, he's like, "Where are you from?" And Scott's like, "Ripon." And then, talking again, I'm like, "Look, seriously, man, if you just let me take my iPad out of my backpack, I can show you guys." I'm like, "This is legit." And he asked Scott, he's like, "Where are you from?" Shining the light in Scott's eyes. And Scott very politely said, "Well, you took my ID. My dad told you. I told you. My dad told you." He goes, "Still ain't changing, man. We're from Ripon." And he's trying not to giggle and laugh. They're like, "Well, we're going to take you back to Van Wert." And Scott was like, "But we already saw Van Wert." So we go back to Van Wert, go to this McDonald's, and waited for my cousin to come. And this guy drove around like 6 times, man, waiting. So, my cousin Ross and his son Bubby came and got us and drove us the other 2.5 hours home. And so we made it. It took 16 days, 1 hour, and like 20 minutes to go from here to California, Vegas, up and back. Even with that little detour going towards 80. So it was a fun trip. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and then restart it again. We're going to talk about like our funnest rides, scariest moments, city scary rides, etc. So thank you again for watching. I mean, hey, we got to see the best of America. The worst and best, and there's more good than bad, let me tell you.